Hi, this is Lisa Rawls, the naturalist with the Winnebago County Conservation Board. Since we can't get together for a fall hike this year, we thought we'd take you on a virtual hike instead. So come along as we walk along the Northland Nature Trail here at Thorpe Park. We'll stop at a few places along the way and talk about some of the things you can see. It's a beautiful day, so let's go. Here we have some sumac plants. They're commonly found along roadsides, in clearings, or throughout abandoned farm sites. In winter, deer and rabbits often feast upon the twigs and the branches, but in earlier times, Indians and pioneers used sumac bark tea for medicinal purposes. In addition, sumac juice, high in tannic acid, can be used to tan leather, and those red-brown fruits you see can be used to make a drink, sometimes called Indian lemonade. Further down the trail, we come across these oak trees. In North America, there are actually over 60 different species of oak trees. And here in Iowa, the oak tree is so common, it's our state tree. The acorns of oak trees provide valuable food for many wildlife species, including deer, wood ducks, squirrels, raccoons, even some songbirds. Native Americans would grind acorns for flour, and later the watertight wood of many oak species was used for shipbuilding and coopering, or barrel making. Today, the strong wood is used mostly for furniture. Here we have a typical north-central Iowa marsh. North-central Iowa was at one time dotted with thousands of these marshes. These areas contain a mix of water and vegetation, providing important nesting areas and migration stops for millions of ducks, geese, and songbirds, and also serving as homes for countless other animals as well. People also benefit from these areas, for marshes cleanse the water, control floods, and provide recreation. Unfortunately, though, over 98% of Iowa's original marshes have been drained. Here we have what is called an edge. In 1933, famed Iowa conservationist Aldo Leopold discovered the importance of edges in an environment. Edges are areas where two or more plant communities meet, such as this area where the trees and the marsh meet. These areas tend to have more wildlife because the animals living there have access to a wider variety of habitats in which to find food, water, and shelter. This concept of diversity is very important in wildlife management. Here we have a weeping willow tree. The long, graceful, weeping branches of this tree make it easy to identify. A native of China, the weeping willow was first introduced in the United States during colonial times, and since then has been used mostly as a decorative tree. Here at Thorpe Park, you can find many great examples of wildlife habitat. Wildlife managers continually strive to conserve and improve wildlife habitat. An animal's habitat is an area that provides that animal with everything it needs to survive, such as food, water, and shelter. Here at Thorpe Park, you can see forest, grassland, and aquatic habitats. Many animals, though, like deer, often use more than one habitat, one, for instance, for food and shelter, and another to find water. Habitat edges, therefore, are important to these animals. Different trees are adapted or designed to live in different areas. Oak trees, like these up the hill, are called upland trees because they tend to live on higher, drier ground away from the water. But here we have cottonwood trees. These are bottomland trees that grow in moist soil closer to the water. Differences in the soil will cause these two types of trees to sprout and grow where they do. This hilltop provides a wonderful opportunity just to kind of relax and enjoy the scenery. And as you stand here, you can listen to the many subtle sounds of nature and notice the trees and grasses around you and relax as you view the marsh below. And as a gentle breeze circles around you, you may want to remember the words of naturalist Sigurd Olson. Man needs beauty as he needs food. Artists spend their lives creating it, but for the vast majority, it lies in simplicities of natural things. Here we have some red pine trees. These trees are generally found further north around the Great Lakes where the soil is poor. Although they are not native to Iowa, they can be found scattered in local areas. The wood is often used for construction, crates, pulpwood, and ornamentation. The red pine can be easily identified by its long, flexible paired needles and its red, scaly bark. We often think of parks as being islands, areas unaffected by what lies outside. The land surrounding parks, such as this farmland, can have a dramatic effect on nearby parks. Properly managed, it can provide additional food and cover for wildlife, as well as keep the water that flows into the park clean. But improperly managed land provides little wildlife habitat and can cause siltation, which fills in wetlands and pollutes the water. Throughout the Thorpe complex, you'll see many stands of native prairie grasses. These grasses covered 85% of Iowa when the first settlers arrived. For over 10,000 years, their sinuous roots grew deep, making it difficult for those first pioneers to break the prairie sod. Not until John Deere invented the steel plow were the pioneers able to take advantage of the prairie's fertile soil. Today, we still have those prairies to thank for the rich topsoil that nourishes our farms. The native grasses that still remain help to keep our water clean, prevent erosion, and provide essential habitat for countless species of wildlife. Trumpeter swans can often be seen in this part of the park. Swans nested in Iowa in the 1800s, but habitat loss and unregulated hunting drove them out of the state by the turn of the century. In the 1990s, though, the Iowa DNR began a restoration project to bring the swans back to Iowa. Thorpe Park was actually one of the very first trumpeter swan release sites, and since then, trumpeters have regularly nested here. They are the largest waterfowl in North America, so they are quite an impressive sight to see. At one time, the wood duck was close to extinction. Unregulated hunting, the draining of wetlands, and the clearing of wooded areas all contributed to this cavity nesting duck's decline. Finally, in 1918, wood duck hunting was banned. Then in the 1930s, a biologist named Frank Belrose developed a wood duck nesting box to replace the tree cavities that had been lost. Wood duck numbers soon began to increase, and by 1941, restricted hunting was once again allowed. Today, the colorful wood duck is one of Iowa's most common nesting ducks and can often be seen in this part of the park. Here we have a couple bluebird houses. In addition to wood duck houses, you'll also see smaller bluebird houses throughout the park, including along this fence. That's because, like wood ducks, bluebirds traditionally nest in tree cavities. Today, though, few dead hollow trees are left standing. Most are torn down soon after they die. As a result, bluebirds and other cavity nesters have declined in number. These boxes, though, act as artificial tree cavities, giving the birds places to live. The trees we see here along the trail are called basswood trees, or they're sometimes called linden trees. The basswood is a bottomland tree, growing most often in moist soil, often close to the water. Today it's used by wood carvers and for pulpwood, as well as for landscaping. Native Americans, though, use the strong bark for toboggans and the bark's tough inner fibers to make cloth and rope. Some tribes also use the tree's flowers for medicinal teas. The basswood can easily be identified by its heart-shaped leaves and often by its multiple trunks. Here we have Lake Catherine. Lake Catherine is a 10-acre lake that reaches depths of over 15 feet in normal years. As a result, bass and catfish call the lake home, as do bluegill and crappie. In the winter, an aerator in the lake keeps the water from completely freezing over and preventing extensive fish kills. Across the lake, you'll see the Lake Catherine Cabin, a cozy rental cabin that provides a relaxing way to enjoy Thorpe Park. And on the other side of the lake is the Thorpe Park Campground, popular with people who don't mind roughing it just a little. The tallest pine species in North America is this tree right here, the white pine, which is easily identified by its needles, which come in bundles of 5, one for each letter in the word white. Native Americans use the bark to relieve coughs, and the British often use the straight trunks for ship masts. The last stop along our hike today is at this tree right here called the shagbark hickory. Shagbark hickories are easy to identify by their shaggy bark. Many animals really like the nuts of these trees, and the wood is often used to smoke meat or to make strong, lightweight tool handles. Well, I hope you enjoyed our hike today and learned a little bit also. Remember, Although we couldn't walk the trail as a group today, you're perfectly welcome to visit Thorpe Park and walk the trail on your own at any time. And even if you can't make it to the park, be sure to get outdoors this fall and winter and enjoy whatever the season has to offer. Thank you. We'll see you later.